Do your health coaching clients abuse or avoid HRT? Interesting question, right? But it's going to impact whether the exercise that you're recommending that they do gets better results, gets worse results, or no results at all. Probably less likely the third. It's going to get better or worse, depending on what they're doing. Your clients may be choosing to use HRT or choosing not to use it, but I propose that they could also be abusing HRT, no matter which of those choices they make. Here's what to do in both cases in this episode. And I'm going to cut right to the heart of the message. I want to get your attention here. If I have it, please keep reading or listening, and I'll explain. And this podcast will take you right to it. Muscle is an endocrine organ. Muscle is HRT for women 40 and over. It is HRT, hormone replacement therapy. Muscle is hormone replacement therapy. So if you're still listening, good, let's do this. I'm Deborah Atkins, and you're listening to Shamin's Fitness Business. It's a division of Voice for Fitness, my company. And at Voice for Fitness, we know that you want to be an inspirational example to midlife women. And in order to do that, you need a profitable health and fitness coaching business. And the problem is a lack of clients often, or just simply a lack of revenue coming from clients, which makes you feel uncertain about whether you can succeed. We believe that you deserve consistent, dependable revenue from clients you love. And we understand personally how this feels because I've been there too, which is why I now train fitness pros internationally as a health and business coach and have for almost 25 years. Here's how I do it. Number one, I get you more clients. We come up with a plan that easily gets you more clients. Number two, make sure that you're making more profit from each of those clients so that you're not just scraping by. And third, help you create freedom so that you can enjoy the revenue that you're getting. So you can book a call with me. In the meantime, I want you to get the Health and Fitness Professionals Business Scorecard so you can self-assess, where do I need to really focus right now, based on my having worked with fitness professionals for almost 35 years, training, coaching, hiring, firing, and seeing who's still there, who's successful, and who's no longer in the industry. You can stop feeling like your dream is slipping away while other less qualified and less heart-centered coaches make sales and get more clients. And instead, you could easily increase your revenue by $5,000 a month. If you're already way over that, you could increase your total revenue by at least 25% by the end of the year. It's very easy. That's very within reach. And we're probably going to encourage you to retire. Okay, let's dive into this episode. Muscle is an endocrine organ. Muscle is hormone replacement therapy for women 40 and over. Let's talk about it. Hormones and training 101. Once a woman doesn't have the same level of estrogen, progesterone she did, building muscle will make a big difference in the way that she ages. So, cortisol has an uptick when estrogen levels drop. So it's right there at the menopause transition. Usually that happens for most women. That means women no longer have the muscle stimulating benefits from estrogen, and they have the deleterious effects of cortisol breaking down their muscle further. So they don't have any, it's like they don't have any new coming in. And what is there is going to get chiseled away little by little. Loss of muscle means gain of fat. By default, even if fat isn't gained, the percent of body fat goes up. But in minutes, so it seems for many women, metabolism slows. Not because it's mandatory or it must, but because she may have this first wake-up call that she hasn't been for years eating enough protein, sleeping enough, or doing enough of the right strength training. She will gain fat if that's true. Even if her false golden idol, the scale, says that she hasn't gained any weight, she has most likely changed her body composition, right? And that means she's no longer as metabolically active. She doesn't have that metabolic flexibility. She doesn't have that metabolically active tissue. She'll gain weight and it will be 100% fat as she gains it. She hasn't thought about it like this. Have you? So look, if you are going to the trouble to understand what happened and what's happening for her, maybe for you, by knowing signs and symptoms and offering all the tools that support her, you can check out Flipping 50. Menopause Fitness Specialist. We open a couple times a year. If you happen to be listening right when we're releasing this, we are still open, but not for a very long time. So there's not only a huge savings on the general price, but we're offering 2 huge bonuses so that not only will you know the hormone and exercise science together, but you will know how to coach. And dealing with people, that's a whole nother animal, right? So knowing it yourself versus communicating it and delivering it in a motivating way to the right person, that is gold. That's what makes the difference between those who survive and those who barely get by. Okay, you have to be able to do that in a way she'll listen. We're going to hit on estrogen and progesterone levels again. They play a big part in glucose regulation. So remember at that menopause transition, progesterone and estrogen really dive down, mostly estrogen. High percentage of women become less insulin sensitive, or said otherwise, it's insulin resistant because they're eating the same as they've always done, exercising as they've always done, and it's not going to work the same. And remember, their response will probably be intuitively, they will think, I need to do more. And what's that going to do? Their cortisol levels make it worse, right? But more muscle is what they really need. And that acts like a bigger sponge to mop up blood sugar. And then each time you move the muscle that you create in just daily activities of life, walking, intentional exercise as well, muscle acts like hormone replacement for women 40 and over. It's not giving extra estrogen and progesterone, let's just be clear, but it's helping take up where estrogen left off. So where insulin would love to take over, and the more insulin, if you're in that, you can't fat burn. You can't lose the fat because of that insulin being present. So that has its negative effects. Progesterone, by the way, responds really well to certain foods. So making sure a woman isn't going too low on carbs too often is a big part of balancing this hormone. If you've got women who are doing keto for a while, maybe they say, I'm doing really great on this and losing weight. But if they stay on it, they may actually be kind of digging themselves into a hole. It may not work. How can you exercise in a way, or get your clients to exercise in a way that might negatively affect their hormones? Not that you would do this intentionally, but you may. Women who revert to doing cardio, just doing more, but definitely cardio, or potentially elevating their cortisol with that endurance activity. It's more pronounced. Even so, if they're already stressed, they're sleep deprived, eating too little protein or carb to fuel exercise. And this is that moderate level exercise that women have been led to believe for decades. And we as fitness professionals may even have led to believe it and been teaching it is the best. And it simply is not at this level of their lives and stressors and hormones. With less cardio and more strength training, plus low level movement every day, and anaerobic work like high intensity interval trainings when it's appropriate, a woman stands a chance at improving her life in the way that she ages in it. Strength training and HIIT also, they have a positive and not negative effect on testosterone and on growth hormones as well as cortisol. But then there's mood. And this is a big one because kind of at the root of getting motivated, staying motivated to exercise is how you feel. And a woman depressed or anxious is a lot harder client to keep coming in, keep compliant between your sessions. Am I right? So, a recent study in the Journal of Physiology, literally just January of 2023, found that high intensity has a far greater effect on BDNF. And that is just a hormonal factor and like a transmitter in the brain. Studies in the recent past years, I mean, excluding pandemic. So, recent past and then prior to 2020, we're showing high intensity, high impact studies done on postmenopausal women to not only be effective in bone density benefits, but researchers discovered something else accidentally in some of the discussions of the studies and in the abstracts. The researchers commented that women participating, because this is basically a first, keep this in mind, that we used to bubble wrap people who got diagnosed with low bone density, that women in these studies were not used to, and they weren't used to doing high intensity, high impact exercise. And of course, it was done over a long period of time with progression that was safe, but compliance and adherence rates were extremely high. Injury rate was actually non-existent, and exercise had notable favorable effects on mood and the sense of accomplishment. They just enjoyed it more. Interesting feedback, right? So things to take into consideration. Although women want to get back, they want to get back to when I used to do these really long blah, blah, blah runs or bikes or whatever, and anymore, it's probably not going to have the same effect. She's remembering what it felt like, but she may actually be more likely to get that kind of a feeling from doing shorter and high intensity exercise. So if she's new to it, see if she's open and try it. So this mood is a big deal. Remember, depression and anxiety are really going to interfere with somebody's ability to stay motivated. But all of those positive changes, those are related to serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, and of course, endorphins. Those are all your neurotransmitters. More muscle enables more motivation to do other activities that bring each one of those neurotransmitters into the forefront as well. Weight training done correctly has a positive hormonal effect on hormone replacement therapy. No weight training, right? It's another way your clients may abuse or avoid hormone replacement. And you may have never thought of it like this. This is a conversation starter for you and your client, the ones who are reluctant, or the next consult that you have, where someone is not just an easy customer or a brand new customer. Having this kind of discussion is huge. I can think of somebody in just this last week, like within the last 3 days, that a good friend of mine was talking to one of the members of his club. And she came in and she was talking, like, I'm not in a great way, right? Talking about menopause and, what it's done and how hard it's been. And immediately, I'm thinking about this woman, and she's just a long time cardio bunny, right? So cardio, very little strength and weight training. So what would help her most is probably what is most foreign to her. And a lot of midlife women are like that. So they're going to need you. There's openings and availability for you to get your foot in the door right there. So overexercise has a negative impact on hormones. Chronic cardio has a negative impact. Your clients, those that overdo it, do it too frequently, they don't rest, they're essentially taking double doses of their hormone shots or their creams or their pills. Nobody would do that. No woman would do that. But she doesn't see it that way yet. That's up to you. So without you, right, it's just going to continue. If you're ready to dig into the science, the way to deliver it more so with confidence so that you know how to help your menopause clients now and tomorrow, when their status changes again, can you pivot? as quickly as she does and her hormones do. The Flipping 50 Menopause Fitness Specialist course is open if you're listening live. If not, there will be a wait list so you can be first to know and get a nice little coupon available for those first 3 days when we open. But this course comes with a huge discount right now and 2 huge bonuses and a special rate for podcast listeners. You can DM me on Instagram if you want to learn more, or send a message to support@flipping50.com to get this $500 off and over $10,000 in bonuses right now. But this one is almost over. Like the Nordstrom's shoe sale, it won't last forever. Okay, what are you waiting for? You're going to find the show notes today at fitnessmarketingmastery.com. And the ticket here is fitnessmarketingmastery.com/avoid HRT. Just the letters. Okay, the world needs you right now more than ever. I hope this shorty has been like a reframe and a light bulb going off in your head. Love to know how you use it.